Orange's turn to bat.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into this broadcast of the G-1 Champions League. I'm AC, joined by Loda, and we've got a real interesting match on the way, and I'll tell you why. Let's start out with Orange. The Malaysian Sensations roll into play today, a different squad from that which finished in the bottom half of the standings at the International 2. They've added the star power of Ohio and Net to their lineup at the end of January. Now they're a squad reborn, but one which is still directed by their original core and led by the indomitable Mushi in both the one position and the captain's chair. Since the addition of Net in Ohio, Orange has given the world good reason to believe they're even better than they were before, finishing first in the recent GEST Challenge #1 in 2013 and hanging an ugly 3-0 trouncing around the necks of LGD International in the process. Now today is as they take on a fairly mysterious team in Rattlesnake. And what's a mystery is the fact that, I mean, they're a team that is just now beginning to really get out and play a lot, but they have a lot of star power. But what isn't a mystery is that Mushi and company have a chance for revenge. Orange was given the boot at the hands of eHome in the lower bracket of the International 2, if you remember back. And who was at the center of that eHome squad? A guy named Lanham, the captain and progenitor of Rattlesnake. So a grudge match on the way. Rattlesnake, the upstart new team of old veterans, rolling to play today, riding high on their Phase 2 trouncing of MUFC, who was favored in that match. But prior to that, Rattlesnake was an unproven squad who was really more or less off the radar. They come into play today, though, after having beaten MUFC 2-0 in Phase 2, a team that is not going to be taken lightly one little bit. And again, I don't know that Mushi's memory goes back that far, but I have no doubt there's been a little bit of talking between those two players, and they're going to be looking to get a little revenge here today. So Rattlesnake and Orange here on G1 Champions League Phase 3 of the Asia Qualifiers. So, Loda, we can see the Lone Druid's actually going to be banned today. I already like that out of Orange.
Yeah, well, the Lone Druid has become a very, very popular ban in the first stages, and especially when that new armlet working on that hero it's just a beast. I mean, yeah. I just have to say that I've had my I've always been kinda against Lone Druid, and I haven't felt he is as strong as everyone says, but I mean, he really is. And as I said, with this armlet, even if you lose the early game, even if you can't go for Midas on the bear, that usually a lot of players like to do, they just slowly go for face boots and armlet, and then once they enter the mid game, they will still be really strong because that bear is just running around, punching down towers, rooting people. So that ban is very understandable. Bat ban is very standard as well. Bat is one of the strongest heroes in the game. He can decide fights just as he wants. NA is very, very highly favored, especially in the Asian scene. In Europe, I feel that teams sometimes overrate him because they don't play as well with him as they should.
Right.
And I mean, we are that kind of team as well. Sometimes we pick heroes that we don't really love playing with, but somehow we think that they're supposed to be picked, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I still think it's quite standard bans. The only thing I'm surprised by is this clock second pick, but
I'll tell you what, that would surprise me, but you weren't a part of the last time we broadcasted Rattlesnake. Kabu plays a monster clockwork. And when I say a monster clockwork, I'm talking hooks for days. I'm talking he's hitting hooks from the well to confound the team fight of the other team. And that's exactly what we saw all throughout Phase 2. When Rattlesnake was making their really, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was their professional debut in terms of actually playing against teams in a tournament where something mattered. So picking up the clock here, it doesn't really surprise me. Clock's becoming one of those picks that is really just very situational. Now with the Juggernaut and the Shadow Demon, I really like what Rattlesnake is putting together right now. They've got a lot of lane versatility, but they're going to be able to fight really well in the mid-game.
Yeah, I love what both teams are doing here right now. You can see from Orange picking up the Mag, maybe they will run in mid, because Mag is still a very strong hero mid. But then they pick up the Rubik and Lesh to start creating a really, really strong lane. Lesh, Rubik, that combination together with a hero like, now Nyx is banned, but with a hero like Nyx, you have one of the strongest lanes in the game. But then, right away, Rattlesnake answers by picking up a Juggernaut and follow that up with a Shadow Demon since before. So now they pretty much will be able to counter the lane Orange will send at him. So I wouldn't be surprised if Orange decides to go for a safe lane this time.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, I've talked extensively about this, and I'd actually love to hear your thoughts on this. As it stands right now, if I had to identify two supports that are pretty much considered the highest of the high tier, Shadow Demon and Rubik are right there, and that's across all geographic regions. And I think the reason both of those heroes have settled into that state of popularity is how versatile they are and how you can play them. And I talk about this a lot, so longtime viewers of the stream are probably sick of hearing this, but new-time viewers might get something out of it, especially with Loda adding his 2 cents as we watch the ban phase continue here. But Shadow Demon and Rubik, they work extremely well offensively and defensively. Both are known more typically as defensive kind of supports, but once you begin to roam with them, once you put them with some kind of early punching power like a Juggernaut, like a Lesh, they can be played very effectively in an offensive position, just trying to get kills and trying to apply pressure, or you can fall back on them as heroes that are very good at defending their own towers.
Yeah, but you're completely right there. I mean, as you say, the reason why they're so highly rated right now is because of just as you say, how much impact it can have in the game. I mean, Rubik can steal some awesome ultis and turn a complete team fight just by positioning himself right. Or even if he doesn't steal anything, the opponent has to play according to Rubik. So even if they initiate, sometimes they have to do a different kind of initiate because they don't want Rubik to steal the ultimate.
Right.
So it's just a great hero. SD, he works a bit defensive as well. I mean, he can do those clutch saves that turn team fights completely when you're able to. I mean, for example, yesterday I watched Fnatic versus Sim Liquid, and there was a fight where Era was saved, even though the Laguna Blade was already in the air, or Finger of Death. He was still saved and dodged the ability by the Shadow Demon. So that just says what Shadow Demon can do. And I mean, it's just a great hero.
Absolutely. And another great hero going to be our TA. She's picked up in 4th position here. TA is one of those heroes that I'm really enjoying watching the way she's evolving within the professional scene. For a long time, she was considered first pick, first ban. That kind of caliber, she's really fallen off. She's been kind of nerfed since then, and that's combined with teams just really figuring out how to deal with her a lot in all stages of the game. But anytime you see a TA come out, you can basically be guaranteed that you're going to be seeing a very active mid-game. That's just what the hero wants to do. She wants to get out. She wants to fight as quickly and as often as she can. And looking at what Orange banned out in the Tinker, the Brew, and the Lina, I mean, Lina makes a lot of sense with the Shadow Demon. You don't want to have the Light Striker Ray to follow up the disruption in terms of just pure lane dominance and being able to apply pressure early with those two moving together. But the Tinker and the Brewmaster band tell me that Orange wants to fight. Those are two heroes that you can't fight into. You cannot fight into a Brewmaster ulti at level 6. You cannot fight into maxed out March of the Machines. So, and looking at, I mean, already on both sides, it's very mid-game centric. So this is going to be a game, Loda. I suspect we're going to see a lot of kills probably coming out pretty early.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is very interesting. I kind of feel this is kind of the LGD int effect in China or Asia right now, that they've shown that by playing strong lanes and having lane dominance, you can make the game much easier for yourself, and move on from there. And I'm so happy about this pickup. I was just about to say before the game started, I was about to say that Mushi is the best Morphling or solo mid Morphling in the world. This is probably not going to be a solo mid Morphling, but Mushi is one of the best Morphlings, especially at TI2. I think he was.
Oh yeah, but
I think he was the best solo mid in that whole tournament. I mean, he just stomped players like Dendi and Chinese. I mean, he just stomped them.
Yeah, Mushi known as a bit of a playmaker, to put it lightly. I'm actually really excited, too. This is the first time I've had a chance to broadcast Morphling since he was nerfed. Like, I seriously have not seen him played in a professional game that I broadcasted in something like 4 months. It has been a long time.
What is this career?
Yeah, this is the new Octopus. The new Octopus. I can't remember.
Oh, it's a
G1. Yeah, it's ours.
Oh.
I was going to say, I think it's ours.
Oh, that's really cute, actually.
Yep, the G1 Octopus.
I don't know if I should say that's cute.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Looks like we're getting a little bit of lag, and that'll give me a moment once again to thank each and every one of you for being a part of our broadcast here today. I'm AC, once again joined by Loda for the broadcast, and moving into game 1 of this best of 3 between Orange and Rattlesnake, a grudge match, which, and you'll hear me mention this once or twice, I love trying to find the little storylines that don't get talked about a lot. And the one that stands out, of course, the fact that Orange was eliminated by eHome, led by Lanham at the International 2. And to my knowledge, this is the first time those two players have met up again in a professional game. So, little bit of chance for revenge for Orange. Knockout, or at least to make Rattlesnake's path through Phase 3 a little bit more difficult, if not knock them out entirely.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting game. And as you said before, I haven't seen a lot of Rattlesnake. I didn't see that last game where Cabo played a great clock and so on. But I mean, I know some of these players, and I've heard a lot of good things about Rattlesnake, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can actually beat Orange, because Orange is a extremely strong team.
Oh yeah.
This KYXY, he was part of Orange before. They made a team, but he was more of a sub. But he was always very skilled individually. I played a lot with him, and I spoke a bit with him about the team and stuff. But I'm happy for him that he's in this team right now. I think he needs... now that he got a secured spot on a team, I think he will keep improving as a player.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
becoming better. And he's still quite young as well, I think. And then Ohio, of course, known as a very good solo mid player, and then Mushi as the carry. So I would say Orange has a really great... I mean, their lineup is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just going to say it's going to be interesting to see this TA as well. I mean, as you said, we haven't seen much of TA. I don't think she's bad or anything. I think she was a little bit nerfed, but she's still very good. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can use her.
Yeah, she's one of those heroes that I'm 100% on board with you. I don't feel like she just got nerfed to the point that she is just not played because she's bad. I think teams are just getting away from her in general. They feel like they could probably get a lot more out of running more high-tier supports like a Rubik, like a Lesh, like a even a Clockwork now, and so on and so forth. You know, there are just so many supports, and those three really, Rubik, Lesh, and Shadow Demon, are probably the three most commonly picked supports in the current state of the metagame. You just see them come out. They're either picked or banned almost every single game, and for good reason. But we'll run through our lineups as it looks like they are going to retreat. We're not going to have any fights so far. Starting on the side of Orange, we're going to have Extinct handling our Leshrac. We'll have Mushi, the captain, and the superstar of Orange playing on Morphling as anticipated by Loda. The newest addition, or one of the two newest additions to the squad, Net, will be playing on Rubik. Magnus will be handled by KYXY, the talented young player Loda was just singing the praises of. And TA will be played by Ohio, the second of those two players who just joined Orange back at the end of January. On the other side of the river, Lanham, as mentioned, the captain, the progenitor of Rattlesnake. He's going to be handling our Lion pick. Jugger will be farmed by Icy. Gonna have Kabu, as anticipated, on our Clockwork. An absolute monster Clockwork. Playmaker all through the entire second phase. Really looking forward to seeing his performance on this hero once again. Shadow Demon, going to be played by Sag. And farming the solo top's going to be Luo. So, we didn't talk a whole lot about the lanes. We talked a lot more about the players and where we thought the metagame was. But I like this choice to offensively tri-lane out of Rattlesnake. It's going to put a lot of pressure onto Orange. Morphling, one of the reasons we just don't see him as much anymore is he's not nearly as strong in lane as he once was. His survivability took a big hit.
Yeah, you're completely right. And I mean, this lane is quite scary. It's gonna be hard to say. I mean, as I've said before, when it comes to these aggressive lanes, if you're not able to shut down the opponent's full spots, and the opponents are able to play passive and just get the EXP lead and then slowly take back the power of the lane, then it's always a big problem. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna handle this. That Orange are pulling the creep spawns, getting the EXP, and maybe they will try to go for pick-off.
They're moving around right now. They were trying to do a second pull. This will end up pushing the lane, as that's equivalent to a single pull. Now we're going to have a disruption. And the follow-up Earth Spike. Oh, what a great split Earth from Lesh. Don't think it's going to be enough.
It will be. The thing was, the SD surrounded him with the illusions. I think that was a bit of luck as well, because the illusions placed themselves just so they blocked the tree line, so the Ruby couldn't run out.
Yep.
And that was just such a great...
I thought Lesh had bailed him out. He had a great split Earth. It just wasn't enough to get the Rubik away. So First Blood does go the direction of Rattlesnake, and you know, this is where things start to get dangerous. You're already on a hero who had his survivability take a pretty big hit. He's not known as the best tri-laner in the world in Morphling. Giving up one death, not the end of the world. You really can't afford to give up another. Now just look at all these creeps from that single pull that they forced whenever they did invade the enemy's jungle. They're going to get a lot of experience here. They're going to be able to get a lot of gold.
Yeah. At least they were able to anti-ward right away. But they did have to use 2 sentries for that. And you can see that Rattlesnake has perfect vision now. Or almost, because they have one ward, the offensive tri-lane there, that won't be countered for long. So they will know what's happening in this lane. I want to see what's happening on top lane right now.
Taking a look at Magnus and Luo. Mag sitting at 10 last hits, Luo's at 12, so going about as you would expect. Mag's actually holding his own, but as we know, and we see this all the time, it's going to start to get real hard as he gets more stacks on Necromaster. He's already up to 12, and he's going to end up just doing so much right-click damage, even in these early levels, that Mag will have a hard time standing. In the meantime, bottom, Rattlesnake going to move back into the enemy's jungle, moving as 3, and yep, just going to go ahead and take over the camp again, drop themselves a sentry ward, and they're doing a great job of executing on what you had pointed out, Loda, just making sure that they kept control of this jungle and didn't allow Mushi to have control over creep equilibrium.
Yeah, exactly, but that's what I mean, because now Net is level 1 on Rubik still. I mean, he's gonna get level 2 very soon, but now the EXP is very even on this lane, and that's just exactly what I have to do. You don't want to get let the opponents get the XP lead on the offensive tri-lane, and they're handling it well with that early pickoff.
We can see level 2 now on Lanham. He's almost level 3, having both Hex and Earth Spike to draw upon. He's got a full mana bar, so we'll be able to use both of those abilities if they engage again. Icy's got 2 points into his Blade Fury as well. And now one of the questions becomes, how is Icy in particular going to play this? Are they going to drop a healing ward at some point in the future and just try to push and then dive? Or are they just going to try to keep the status quo going? I mean, given the Morphlings at 13 and Juggers at 13, that's actually a win for Rattlesnake, given that they're breaking even in a melee versus ranged and in an offensive tri-lane versus a defensive tri-lane.
Yeah, I think they will just keep playing this safe, making sure they have control of this lane. Just to wait for some levels and items from the clock and the SF, and then later on move S5 and press towers with the healing ward. That's what I think they will do. What I find interesting is this Chinese, they like to play the clock mid.
Yeah, and well,
and it does.
It works.
And it's it does really well, and I'm a bit surprised every time, but I guess it works. I mean, now he got 2 runes, he got the DD rune, and now he got a region rune, so it's easier for him to take control of this lane, but still
Icy going to be engaged upon. They thought about following it up, both teams actually. Looked like they were going to start a fight there, but Icy held the trigger on Blade Fury. Back to mid though, I mean, Kabu's a beast, man. He's sitting on top of the CS board along with Luo. He's got 26 in mid against the TA. Now TA is one of those heroes that, much like a Shadow Fiend, the longer that she's there, the harder she gets to deal with. Starting at level 1, I mean, yes, Refraction's nice, helps you with last hits, but hold on, Disruption. They're going to go for it. And, oh, wow, Earthspike caught 2. They may get 2 of them. There's a follow-up Hex as well. Not going to be able to use the telekinesis. They drop him back down, and they may get a return kill. They will. They go 1 for 1. Rubik traded for Jugger. Not the best trade. And Lanham playing YOLO is going to be cleaned up. What was he doing? Sag, the same thing. Beautiful split Earth. Triple kill for Mushi. I have no idea why the Lion and the Shadow Demon thought they could stand and fight there. They should have run for the tower. Instead, they end up feeding 3 back for 1. And Orange on top after a triple kill on Mushi.
Yeah, I just think they saw the low HP of the Morphling and felt they could pick him off if Lanham hit a stun, since it's the level 2 stun. But I mean, there was just too many creeps there. I think it was the wrong decision to even try to do that, because even if he hit the stun on Mushi, it's not even 100% sure they would kill him. And they would most likely die either way. And since he has 2 of those points in Morph, and he had mana as well, he would have been able to survive either way. I mean, even if you get stunned with Morphling, you can still Morph. So that was just some bad decision making, I think, and it's too bad for their offensive trialing. We will see if they're going to be able to take control here. But I mean, nothing is decided yet. They're doing really well in mid. They're doing really well at top. And as you said before, as long as they're doing okay on bottom.
Yep.
Uh,
I'll tell you what the shame of it is they were in such great shape. If they go 1 for 1 there, that's actually okay. It's not the best trade in the world going Rubik for Juggernaut. And Lanham had it. I have no idea. I was stunned by the fact that Lanham turned and decided to auto attacks. Lanham and Sag both had a clear path right back under the tower, and their eyes getting a little bit bigger than their stomach and costing them 2 return deaths. I mean, it's like you just hate to see that. It's a mistake that it doesn't matter who you're a fan of. It's a mistake that you hate to see professional players make because it's such a big turnaround just from one small little mistake in terms of shot calling, in terms of determine, because somebody had to call out engage. You know, someone had to tell them to do that. And hard to tell who, but Cabo continues to do really well here. TA, not to sleep on her, is being played very well by Ohio. He's got 30 last hits and a haste rune. Now, I was actually going to say, with this haste rune, he just runs down and drops a side trap. I thought he might take a chance and run towards bottom to maybe catch Rattlesnake sleeping. Looks like they're going to play a little bit more defensively. Orange, on the other hand, they've rotated their Rubik up the top, now applying some pressure to Luo.
Yeah, then the mag is soon level 7, and if they just get a pick off on that SF, he's for sure going to die.
Yep.
But he plays it safe.
He's got his Trank boots up, a wand and a bottle, so he's got a ton of regen to draw upon. He just has to make sure he's not bursted down. Rattlesnake now got to go back into the Radiant jungle, look for a target. Not going to find anyone. It's just Mushi and Extinct now in this bottom lane. Looks like they're going to go ahead and set their sights on mid. Lanham, as well as Sag, giving the old end around. Doesn't look like they're going to spot much of anything. Maybe just going to pre-rune this bottom rune spot. That's going to end up leaving Icy there to soak up some solo experience. And at top, it looks like they really want to dive this, like they're really considering it. Mag is level 7, so he has an RP, and he's got help on the way. Yep, here's the haste rune. Thought for sure we'd see Ohio get something out of this before all was said and done. Luo going to be the target. Refraction is up, and waiting on Mag to initiate, most likely. Yep, now he's going to show his face. Here we go. Going to go ahead and do it. Here we go with the TP reaction. Telekinesis there. Follow-up, but there's the disruption from Sag. That might be enough to buy him the time he needs. Mag goes in. Going to spin the RP. They're going to get at least one here. But will they be able to get a return kill? Kabu's there, and now going to throw his hook. Hook actually does connect. Ohio looks to be traded for Luo, and he will. In the meantime, they're still chasing Mag. Yep, this is going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Remember what I was saying about Cabo being a beast? That little guy knows how to run a Clockwork Goblin.
Yeah, I feel that they handled it really well, Rattlesnake there. I mean, they knew there were a few heroes missing. Kabu started moving top because he doubted the TA would go bottom to gang the Juggernaut. But at the same time, I feel that Orange just took a little too long to do that. They would have to instant kill the SF. And I would have loved to see Mag just skewer in and ult right away, just to instant kill SF, and then everyone backs off. Because these long fights, as I told you the last time we were casting, I mean, you don't always want those situations where you just barely kill a hero. Because the Chinese are so good at counter-ganging, and they always keep that TP on their supports.
Right.
So they will be ready, and you just have to be fast enough to make sure they cannot react. Because then if you instant kill him, then instead 2 people TP, and you back off. So not only do they lose 1 kill, on the one kill on their SF, but also they will lose gold that is very, very important to their support heroes, and that does a lot. But I mean, now since they TP top, they were able to get some counter gangs. The supports are still doing very, very, very well on Rattlesnake.
Well, taking a look at the last hits, we can see Jugger and Morphling going about toe for toe, 32 and 33, which is not bad for Jugger. What I really want to see is, one, how they're going to build this Jugger. I suspect it'll be just a pretty typical drums build, and what are they going to do after that becomes the question. Given the lineup they have, and given how mid-game centric they are, I mean, Shadow Fiend is a hero that if he gets big late can seriously just about 1v5 by virtue of how hard he can hit. But I still feel like they really want to fight in the mid game. They've got they're up against a Morphling who, of course, is still a beast. I mean, despite his nerfs, he's still really good in the late game with the full inventory. So don't give them a chance to try and take that opportunity. Instead, try to get past them in the mid game when TA is really going to be the one that they're relying on for damage. So a mid game centric build out of Juggernaut start trying to push towers, start trying to take early team fights. Can't help but think that's going to suit their playstyle and what they have available to them much better than another approach.
Yeah, I think that the right thing to do here would be to play the Juggernaut as you said, more standard, go for the drums, and then after that maybe just tank up a little bit, becoming versatile in the fights and so on. But they can't really rely on him as the DPS of the team, and that's why they have the SF, obviously. But I mean, Orange has a Morphling on the team, and Morphling, I would say, together with Mag, because Morphling gets a lot from that Empower in late game, because he has so much agility. And together with Mag, the Morphling would probably out-carry the SF, that's what I think. But I would like to see Rattlesnake just, once they get some core items up, he would probably go for drums on the SF, it seems. Yeah, he's gonna go for the Tranquil drums. They just get some core items and then they start taking 5-on-5 fights with the healing ward. Just pressure the towers and win fights with the clock.
Well, the right-click damage on both teams is going to be solid. Hang on, Jugger's going to be caught out. Beautiful follow-up to Split Earth, but Lanham's there, enough to ward them away. Would have been a dead Icy under most circumstances, but they decided to go ahead and pull back and not overcommit. I'm actually a little surprised we didn't see a waveform from Mushi. He probably could have taken the chance and then just more strength to get away, but instead, happy to just do a little bit of damage and force the opponents back up under their tower. We're 12 minutes in. We've got 8 kills on the board, dead even in terms of the kill score. The gold, though, moving very much in the direction of Rattlesnake right now. They're 1,500 ahead, as well as 1,500 experience ahead. So I think that tells you just how well they're doing in the other lanes as they're breaking even down in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and it seems like this clock is just going to go for a big tanky build, and he's now moving top with a haste and KY twice.
Oh, he's going to spin his RP. Luo caught by it, but here comes some help. He will be able to skewer himself almost the way they do manage to get one disruption off. And Luo blew his ulti. Now with the Shadow Race, there's another good hook out of Kabu. Kabu moving across the map, using that haste rune he had bottled up. And they managed to make it a 2-for-1 trade as Juggernaut dies at bottom. So they get a 2-for-0 trade at top, but lose 1 in bottom. In the meantime, now we're going to see a dive on Lanham. Waveform from Mushi, not going to over-pursue, though. Does not pursue past the tier 2. In the meantime, though, Rattlesnake beginning to melt down the creep wave and go to work on this tier 1 top. There are 3 from Orange in the bottom lane if they want to try to counter push. Doesn't look like that's what they want to do. They may just defend here. They have used the glyph. RP spent by KYXY. And, yeah, it looks like Rattlesnake is just going to go ahead and pull back and not overcommit to bottom. Or to top, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that Rattlesnake are playing this correctly. I mean, of course it sucks that their Juggernaut is dying on the off lane, but he's still not going to be the main carry.
Yep.
The only issue for them is that Mushi is getting some of that farm that you don't want to give him, but at the time they're countering every situation on the top lane, and they're already winning mid lane, so they're still having good control of this game, I would say.
Taking a look at the CS, we can see Luo. And I think this is a bigger worry to me. Like I would say that at this point, Orange has better reason to worry about Luo than Rattlesnake has to worry about Mushi. I mean, Mushi, an amazing player on a great hero, but that hero did take his hit in terms of balance. And he just peaks a lot later than he used to. He peaks a lot later than a Shadow Fiend is going to peak. And Shadow Fiend's sitting in a pretty good shape right now. He's 1-1 and 2, has been part of a couple of kills. So he's doing well in terms of CS and in terms of pure experience. 5-6, Rattlesnake leads there. And at some point, and you see this so often.
He went for the Shadow Blade on that perfect team. He didn't go for the drums. He's gonna go for the Shadow Blade and try to get some early aggression off.
I was actually anticipating that on the Juggernaut, but seeing it come out makes a lot of sense there too. And yeah, we've got poor Ohio. He's cornered out. He's getting Shadow Poison stacked. There go the cogs. And now he's going to run for it. 4 stacks of Shadow Poison. And now he has to meld again. They know where he is. And now, yeah, he's actually going to go ahead and re-engage on Kabu.
Wow.
In the meantime, bottom, looks like we're going to have a couple of deaths on the side of Orange. I was watching Ohio be cute. Guess I should have been watching Rattlesnake be awesome.
I think there was just a Shadow Blade initiate by the Shadow Fiend. Orange had no idea what item Shadow Fiend had, and he went in there, used the Requiem, it seems, and since Orange were at their tower, was not much they could do. I mean, where that Shadowblade pickup is so great when you buy it straight, and the opponents have no way of knowing you will have that item soon.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me again. I mean, the lineups, I don't see any reason for Rattlesnake to give Orange any room to really operate here. They're going to have an advantage. I feel like, I mean, the laning phase is beginning to break down now. But you have to give at least 2 of those 3 lanes a win to Rattlesnake. And the other basically broke even. 102 last hits on Shadow Fiend. He's got 102 last hits at 16 minutes, Loda. He's got some pretty damn good farm. He's going to continue to just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And Mushi's not going to have the punching power to deal with him at about 25 minutes. He's just not.
Yeah, you're right. And SF is one of those flash farmers, so-called. He will farm extremely fast in the mid game. If he gets a good start, he will keep getting that CS, and it's gonna be interesting to see how Orange want to handle this, because Mushi seems to be going for the Skull Lincoln's build to begin with, or something.
Oh, there's gonna be a demonic purge spin on KYXY. He's gonna skew her away. Are they gonna pursue? Nope. They are going to wait on their creep wave. They're applying some pressure up here. Now, the one thing Orange has to rely on is they do have an immense amount of team fight. They do have the ability to take fights in big ways if they can get their opponents grouped up and out of position. So far, though, Rattlesnake just seems to be one step ahead. They're getting towers down before Orange really has any time to react, and just forcing the Magnus off there. Now they're going to just TP back and stay safe. That's Lana making his way back towards mid. Kabu is going to be caught, but no, now the counter initiation, and Ohio gonna be the next trophy on Kabu's mantle. Kabu is a beast, man. I'm telling you, the guy is quickly becoming one of my favorite players here in G1 League just because of how patient he is. We saw there, he threw the cogs down, he almost died, but he had help on the way. Very patient, didn't overextend, didn't try to run, instead just waited for the game to come to him and got another kill on a very high value one and bringing down TA. Now the final tier 1 about to drop from Orange. Down it goes. And that gold graph beginning to get pretty ugly. We're talking 5,000, the advantage of Rattlesnake now in excess of 5,000, closer to 7,500 in terms of experience.
Yeah. And Orange is just having a very bad time right now. They don't really have the heroes to be able to take the team fights at this point, I feel. Because I mean that Rubik is 700 HP, the Lesh is 644 HP. I mean, sure, they have some damage from their spells, but they will just die so much more quickly. And I mean, if you look at this clock, he's gonna go for the Aghanim. And once he has Aghanim, he's just gonna start going crazy, I think. I mean, he's gonna be so tanky that it's gonna be very hard for Orange to get him down.
I'll tell you what's terrifying is Luo's not far from a BKB. He's not far at all. He's like 1,000 gold away. And he went Shadowblade first, so he's already made one substantial investment. He's that close to a BKB. 130 last hits at 18.5 minutes. He is, like, honestly, if he keeps this up, he's going to be close to a perfect CS score. I mean, he's not going to be perfect because a lot of those are coming out of the jungle. But he's going to be very close to just about as much as you could possibly ask of him in the first 20 minutes. And he's a big part of that golden experience lead. Yeah, the gold's now up to about 7,500, and it's beginning to reach that point where Orange can't sit back. I mean, Mushi's getting his farm, and that's all well and good, but so is Rattlesnake. I mean, you can't let a Shadow Fiend who's this far ahead just continue to get further and further ahead. We'll see what he's going to pick up here, if he's going to go ahead and invest in anything. Yeah, Mithril Hammer going to be on the way. One would imagine that'll be on the way to his BKB.
Yeah, once he has that BKB, it's gonna be very hard for Orange to fight this. And you can see on top lane, these 3 heroes have been waiting to gang that SF for so long. And instead Rattlesnake are gonna grab Roche, so...
I love the vision. I don't know if you saw it. Timing. Just look how much vision they have around the Roche pit. This has got to be the most confident Roshan they've ever taken. They have vision absolutely everywhere. 2 sentry wards on the high and low ground.
5 wards. They have 5 observer wards out right now.
Yep. And now they're just going to collapse on bottom. This is going to be a very dead Ohio. If he gets spotted out, they will be able, or he will be able to make it back. Nope. Here we go. Refraction up. There's the Hex to follow it up. Demonic Purge is there. High value kill. And I don't know that they can think. No! Wow! Omni Slash of Icy has another one to the board just as quickly. Here comes Mag. as well as the Rubik. But what are they going to do? You've got 2 of your 3 damage dealers down. Icy's actually going to bail here. Now, that's a little surprising to me. That should have been a free tower. And instead...
Wow, look at the mid. Mushi has almost no mana right now. It's going to be...
And he's going to be cogged in. Kabu taking the target of opportunity. TA follows it up with a side trap. Now he's going to be able to waveform away. Kabu, not sure what Rubik got there. We'll go and spin up. No, there's a hook right on top of him. And once again, couldn't get the cogs down, though. Oh, but Lion swings from the shoelaces and adds a very ugly finger in the eye to Rubik. Make that another death, make it 13-5. And Rattlesnake beginning to run away with this one early. We're just 21 minutes in, and Rattlesnake is looking really sharp.
Yeah, and right now this game is just starting to snowball. I mean, the SF has this BKB now. The clock already has his Aghanim. And even the Jug is not so weak. I mean, he has Face Drums, Medic 1, Ayasha, and I mean that's quite good for where he was on the offensive tri-lane. So Rattlesnake have very good control of this game now, and as I've said before, it's gonna be interesting to see how Orange are gonna handle this, because it's not looking very well for them right now.
Well, I'll tell you what I think Rattlesnake has done an excellent job of. And it's a quote from James Carville. It's really hard for your opponent to hit you when they have your fist in their face. And I feel like Rattlesnake's done a great job of that. Orange has a team with the Leshrac, the Mag, the TA, etc. And you know, one thing that is cool about Morphling is just because of how effective Waveform can be in doing AoE damage, he can show up and fight a lot better than a lot of the ultra late game carries can. So even he has mid game potential to a point, even if just as a nuker. But despite all that Orange has that they could have been pouring on, you know, looking for the reverse polarities, following it up with Split Earth, with Side Trap to slow them down, so on and so forth, they haven't had a chance to do that at all. Instead, they've been on the back foot, sitting on their heels underneath their own towers, being engaged upon by Rattlesnake, and just taking away that initiation advantage that Orange had drafted in their composition. That alone has made this composition feel very thin.
Yeah. Like Rattlesnake are making every decision this game.
Link is going to be popped. Mushi going to be caught out. He's hexed out. There's the ulti, the follow-up Earth Spike. That's a loss they couldn't sustain. Mushi with his freshly completed Lincolns. Lincolns is cool, but not when you've got 15 things that can pop it on the other team, which is just about what they have. Now we're going to see Net be able to TP away the rest of the teams on the warpath, though. And Magnus forced to scamper underneath his own tower. Up, did I hear a hook? Did he? I heard a hook. I didn't see what he hit.
He missed it on bottom. He tried to pick off the mag. But the thing is, Orange are investing so much money into TPs as well, like on their supports. And as I said before, that does affect their game a lot. I mean, on bottom lane before, they tried to TP bottom to save, I think it was Ohio, but they TP'd in too late. And the Lesh even died, he didn't TP in, but the Rubik TP'd in. Now later, they were kind of building up a bait with Mushi, but Mushi died right away. So they had to TP out.
That's actually the second missed hook from Kabu there. Sorry, 1 second loaded. Looks like we're going to have a fight breakout on us. Kabu rarely misses hooks, but we've seen 2. Now he's probably going to throw another one out because he's got an Ags and he can throw it 1,000,000 times every second. Tier 2 tower down to half health. And you can just look at the positioning right now of Orange. Scared to even be on the high ground against this lineup. Scared to be spotted by Kabu. Scared to be spotted by Juggernaut, who will have an Omni Slash ready to roll. His movement speed through the roof with the phase boost plus the Asha, so he'll have no problem closing gaps as needed. BKB is done on Luo. And Luo just about to have level 3 ult as well. He's almost level 16. This is one of those games where, I mean, obviously, there's going to be options when you have a Morphling on the team. But just given how much map control they've lost, that's one of only 3 remaining towers that they have up that's now down. The first of the tier 2 is gone. And the positioning they have to find themselves in constantly, it makes it hard to imagine how they're going to be able to bounce back here, because now Rattlesnake just falls back and farms. Roche is going to be up again in about 6 minutes, and they're not going to be able to outfarm Rattlesnake in the next 6 minutes. No chance.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like being the negative guy when it comes to games like this, but It's just so hard for Orange to get it back into this game. I mean, Rattlesnake are not making any mistakes right now, and they haven't been for the last 10 minutes or so, and they know that Orange are the ones who have to make a lot of plays to turn this game, and it's gonna be interesting to see. They're gonna gang the clock top, and that this should be a kill.
Kabu, wrong place, the wrong... Wow, RP spent just to clean him up. They should be able to get him very easily, and they do. But, I mean, clock's going to be down 60 seconds. RP, I reckon, is worth it. Just seems, I mean, that's a 100-second cooldown on that ability. And I guess they just feel confident enough that Rattlesnake's not going to be able to push without that clock, that they're not all that worried about it. But that's a nice step in the right direction, using smoke and trying to get a high-value hero off the map.
Yeah, but I mean, this is exactly what they have to do, and even if they have to invest so much, like the RP and stuff, into this kill, you have to be happy about the small things sometimes. And they have to get a couple of these pickoffs off to be able to get back into this game.
Looking through the inventories, TA making her way to a BKB as well. She went drums first, and haven't really seen that often. I mean, you'll see drums on TA once in a while, but it doesn't come out, at least in the games I tend to cast. You don't see it all that often. Usually you'll just see something like a very quick blink or a phase blink right up to a BKB. But getting the drums up now, not too bad of a call, especially given the BKB is still going to be up at a reasonable time. On the other side, I really like what Lanham's decision was with his item. Love seeing Lions, and I say this all the time. There are a few heroes, particularly though, Lion, Rubik, and Lena, I love seeing pick up a Blink Dagger. I feel like that extra bit of mobility just gives them so much more potential to be played, not just as heroes that can work well in a team fight, but it can honestly be used as a form of initiation. If you're able to blink in and catch 2 or 3 with an Earth Spike, that's often all the initiation you'll need.
Yeah. And I think they're doing this completely right by they play the SD as the first support. I think they may have switched that around once the Lion Rolando got his Blink Dagger, because now SD has been able to pick his 4 stuff up as well. So their supports are quite strong, and their carries are really strong. I mean, if you look at Orange supports, they have boots, magic wand.
That's about it. Some smoke, some dust and some smoke, basically.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not so much more they could have at this point, because as I said, they have to invest into TPs, and they have nowhere to farm, and they're kind of on the defensive right now, so they'll just have to win those fights.
Smoke from Rattlesnake as they begin to move their way down mid. They've got Kabu, Lanham, as well as Sag moving through the Radiant jungle. And they're going to be spotted by TA side trap, so that should be all the indication that Orange is going to need to back up. They are going to smoke up and try to catch them with their hand in the cookie jar. But Rattlesnake running together. This is a fight that could go very heavily one way or the other. Looking for a good RP. KYXY's performance in this fight is going to be very important. But if they're going to do something, they need to do it soon. They're about to give up a free tier 2. And they will just give up a free tier 2. I'm really surprised by that. I mean, they have to play back, but they're beginning to give away so much that, yes, you have to play defensive and look for good positioning, but you can't just be giving away what remains of your map control. And Rattlesnake now feeling confident enough to perhaps push on up into the tier 3. We're going to see them back at least temporarily. But Luo's just
wait for the Roche, I think.
Luo's just gigantic right now, man. He's already got his Eagle song up. I mean, and on his way to a butterfly.
Yeah, this is going to become a monster soon. But I think it was the right decision from Ohio to go for the BKB here. I mean, he wouldn't be able to do so much with a Blink Dagger. Sure, I'm not as sure about the drums, but I mean, drums is still a very... it's quite a good item. It's quite cheap for all the stats it gives and some movement speed and stuff, so I think it's always a decent item on almost any hero.
And we can see them now beginning to set up shop around that Roche pit. Roche counting down. Just about New Year's in the Roche pit. He'll be back up momentarily. Luo has 2,200 gold in the bank. His BKB, his Eagle Song, as well as his Shadow Blade. And now, Mushi down in bottom. Don't think Pee-wee is just going to be able to replicate away, so no problem there. The rest of his team going to move and catch Icy. Icy going to be skewered back. Now telekinesis. Will be able to spin. Is he going to be able to get away here? He's got a ton of movement speed. There are the phase boots. And he's actually just going to TP away after using Manta. Very big missed opportunity there. Not being able to get him off the map. Now Mushi going to be spotted out looking for a hook. Kabu's going to connect. Catches Mushi, gets the cogs down. He can't get out. He's stuck for the moment. Uses his Ghost Scepter. Looks like he decided to go ahead and go for your shotgun build. The F-Blade, haven't seen that in a long, long time. But for the moment, Roshan occupied by no one but Rattlesnake. And again, the vision. No vision whatsoever in this entire area for Orange.
Yeah, and the thing on top lane was they could have picked off the Juggernaut, but they didn't see the rest of the team from Rattlesnake. So since they were not able to kill him right away, they went for the safe decision and backed off. And I mean, just looking at the situation, some people would probably say that why didn't they just go for that kill? But I understand them. They're playing a very... There's no room for a lot of mistakes, and they can't have one of those gangs turn into the opponent's favor, because then they will lose racks.
Getting that gem up on Kabu has absolutely killed Orange's ability to really play confidently. They just have no vision anywhere on the map. And Kabu, a hero who can aggressively counter-ward, he's going to be able to get himself out of trouble, and he has been so far. Yet another pause. So while we have this pause, just past 31 minutes, I want to thank you guys for being a part of our broadcast here on One More Game TV 2. If you're just tuning in, this is game 1 of this best of 3 between Orange and Rattlesnake here in Phase 3 of the G-1 Champions League Asia Qualifier. We'll be back every day for about the next 10 days. We got a lot of Dota ahead here in the G1 Asia Qualifier, as well as the North American European Qualifier, and you'll be able to see Loda in action on the different side of the microphone in that tournament, so make sure you keep up with him. Where can they find more about you, Loda?
You could always follow me at Twitter, which is @LodaBerg. Follow my stream, which is twitch.tv/liveandletloda. And of course, like my fan page, which is just Live and Let Loda on Facebook. I'm working on doing more with my YouTube channel. It's LodaBerg as well, but there's not so much up yet. But yeah, you should keep an eye out for that as well.
There you go, folks. Make sure you follow LodaBerg. You can see him in action anytime you tune into a No Tidehunter broadcast, be it here or elsewhere. And yeah, lots going on, man. April's gonna be a busy month, and I'll tell you right now, D2L playoffs. We just announced the details yesterday. It's gonna be April 9th and 10th. I can't even begin to tell you how hard it was to even find 2 days that most teams could play in April, let alone to get them to commit to it.
There's just too many games right now. I mean, and every tournament. Of course, want to get their game at the best time, and there's a lot of finals coming up. I mean, I understand there's a lot of trouble just getting those games played or getting a good date for them, because teams right now we're just playing too many games, and I think we're gonna see a change in that in the future. I think we're gonna see a few teams not deciding to participate in every online tournament there is.
Yep, I agree with you. I think you're going to end up seeing a lot of these. Basically, it's going to be escalation. You're going to see the big tournaments going up in prize pool, and the big tournaments basically being the only ones that most players will commit to.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But for now, we've got this tournament right in front of us. And Junker's Illusions, chopping wood there on the tier 3. Doesn't look like they're ready to abandon this. Here comes the healing ward. Luo's there, leading the charge, hitting from the low ground. Eats a little bit of damage. He has his butterfly up and an Aegis, that fresh Aegis. And, oh, never mind, thought Kabu shot that the other direction. They're just going to play this safe. Back all the way back out to the steps for the moment. That tier 3 is below half health, so Mag does have his RP up and ready. He has his Ogre Club, but still nowhere really close to his BKB. BKB still has a 10-second instance for Ohio, so he'll get full use out of that. Or Rubik and the rest of the support's pretty po right now. Mushi's actually not far from having his F-Blade. Only about 600 gold away. And going F-Blade after the Lincoln Sphere, I don't mind it much at all. I mean, F-Blade gives you pretty good stat gain, and of course the shotgun damage that you can rely upon. But at the same time, it may end up coming out just a little bit too late. They lose racks here. It's just going to be so hard for them to ever have a chance of getting back into this game, given how aggressively Rattlesnake can play this lineup. Here we go. They move up. A little bit of spam, shockwave spam, and otherwise. Trying to ward them off. Tier 3 will drop. They're going to have to engage soon. Otherwise, they're going to end up losing a melee racks. Tier 3 lost more or less for free. KYXY still looking for a good RP. Rattlesnake not giving them the opening, staying spread out, making sure they're not caught in an AoE. Mostly just Ohio KYXY as the rest fall back. Spam on both sides doing good damage. Now they're going to catch Kabu. This might be the word go. And the Split Earth is actually going to be off the mark. Rare mechanical misstep there. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication as to where he was going to be tossed. And
yeah, I think you're right there.
And Rattlesnake still not giving up the ghost. And playing a little bit more aggressively now. Not even going to fall all the way back. Still a
They're
lot.
just waiting for that CD on the healing ward. Every time they have healing ward up, they will pressure the racks and the tower. I mean, they used healing ward twice. They were able to get one tower and get the racks down to half HP. So they're playing this right.
And here we go. They are going to rush it. There's a replicate on the Shadow Fiend. Now he's down to half health. They may want to re-engage. He's going to be shotgunned. It's a little bit of adaptive strike, but unable to finish him off because of the Shadow Blade. Now just soaking up the heal. Up, no, RP. Going to catch two, but he's hexed down immediately. Land him. Quick on the trigger, and they bring down Magnus and RP that cost them nothing. Kabu going to land a hook that's going to be isolating Orange. Or excuse me, Ohio. Now waveform across from Mushi. They want to try and fight this out, but they're undermanned. Mushi did what damage he could, but a double kill for Icy, and this is going to be for sure the melee racks. TA's forced to spend money on a buyback as well. Money she could ill afford. Lanham's going to re-engage. Caught three! Now he uses the finger, cleans up Rubik. They're going to re-engage back onto Ohio, fresh from the buyback. BKB has been used. Mushi wants to come out and fight, though. Ult going to go off. No! Interrupted by telekinesis. We're going to see the Aegis popped. Rattlesnake may want to counter-engage, and they will. They're going to catch one. That's going to catch Mushi. Ult is there. Mushi's down following the Shadow Rays. Ohio and Net, the only two left standing. And a lot of buybacks, a lot of deaths. At the end of the day, though, oh, wow, Mushi actually bought back again, too. Money again he could ill afford to spend. They've already lost their melee racks. They do keep the ranged racks up, but not exactly a big win there. 19-6, and Rattlesnake absolutely rolling 15,000 gold. Their advantage now make it in excess of 15,000 in experience.
Yeah, that was very sad to see. I think there was some kind of miscommunication, perhaps, between KYXY or the rest, or he just tried to go for that initiation himself. I mean, at this point, I would have liked him to play a bit more passive before the racks fell, but at the same time, it's very hard to play these games where you feel that if the opponents just play safe, they're gonna win this. And that's pretty much how it is right now.
Right.
So Orange, who are huge fans of this, just like the Chinese, to keep buyback gold, and I mean, you could see Ohio. He didn't even pop his BKB before he died because he had already planned on buying back, and Mushi had already planned on buying back to just turn that fight. But I mean, without the RP, it became impossible, and now they had to use 2 buybacks, I think. They did lose the racks and the tower either way, so I don't know, that didn't work out their way. Mushi have picked up the Ethereal Blade now, but I would rather have seen him pick it up before the fight because he had the gold for it. And sure, it's a risky move because then he won't have buyback. But I feel at this point they have to make risky moves.
Yeah.
To get back into this game.
Oh, Net. Oh, you poor man. There's an RP, though, but everybody's there. I don't know that they have the damage. BKB's going to be used. There comes the ulti. Going to connect to do the damage, and the Omni Slash going through the BKB of Ohio. Finally, he's cleaned up. Mushi forced to run for the tower as he morphs his strength. And they're going to catch him again. Another big blink from Lanham, and follows it up with a Hex. Lanham leading the charge. That guy has been an absolute monster, Loda. The GG's come out. Lanham has been the difference maker, was the difference maker, and helps his team roll to a 23-6 win at 37 minutes in. Lanham, I mean, going back to that RP that he followed up with the Hex. I mean, there was an RP, he had the Hex off, there was no follow-up, just in the shadow of the Tier 3 bottom. He had that Blink Dagger up. He's been hitting 3-mana spikes all game long. Fantastic play out of him, and fantastic play out of Rattlesnake.
Yeah. I have to say I'm really impressed by Rattlesnake. They show that they're not just a random up-and-coming Chinese team. They have a lot of players with experience, and they have a special style of playing. So I'm really impressed by how they did this. They were able to completely destroy and bring down Orange, who recently have been doing so well. So it's going to be very interesting to see, especially the next game, because I mean, it may always have been like this, that Orange kinda underestimated Rattlesnake. I mean, I doubt they would do that in a game as important as this one. But I mean, it still happens. So at least we're gonna know for game number 2 they're not gonna save any firepower.
38 minutes on the money. 23-6, the final kill score. And one very impressive win over Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake, they went 2-0 over MUFC in the Phase 2 round of the qualifiers, looking to make Orange their next big victim. Can they close the door 2-0, or will Orange be able to turn that donut into a breadstick and force a Game 3? We'll find out coming up next. I'm AC, joined by Loda, and you're on One More Game TV 2 for the G1 Champions League. Stick with us. Game 2 of this best of 3 coming up next.